Gentlemen, let's get straight to it. Have you ever found yourself in a moment where you wanted to connect with a woman on a deeper, more intimate level, but didn't know how to approach the situation? What if I told you there's a way to request intimacy that's not only effective but also aligns with the timeless principles of Stoicism? Today we're diving deep into a psychological trick that will not only change how you approach intimacy, but will also make you more self-assured, grounded, and in control of your emotions. Imagine this: you're sitting across from the woman you've been seeing for a while, you feel a strong connection, and you're ready to take things to the next level. But instead of feeling confident, you're anxious, worried about how to approach the subject. What if she says no? What if she pulls away? Here's the thing. Those are the wrong questions. The real question is, how can you use the principles of Stoicism to shift the power dynamic, making her not only comfortable with intimacy but desiring it as much as you do? Stay with me for the next few minutes, and by the end of this video, you'll have the tools you need to request intimacy in a way that's respectful, psychologically savvy, and deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. This isn't your average dating advice. This is about mastering the art of emotional and psychological connection in a way most men overlook. Let's get started. 1. The psychological trick. The understanding what you can control in relationships, power of vulnerability and strength. Now let's get into the psychological trick itself. Balancing vulnerability with strength. This might sound contradictory, but it's actually a powerful dynamic that, when done correctly, creates a magnetic pull. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. Many people equate vulnerability with weakness or oversharing, but in reality, vulnerability is about authenticity. It's about being open and honest about your feelings and intentions without being needy or desperate. In the context of Stoicism, vulnerability is about showing your true self while maintaining control over your emotions. When you express your desire for intimacy, do so with calmness and clarity. For example, you might say, "I've really enjoyed the time we've spent together and I feel a strong connection with you. I'd like to take things to a more intimate level, because I believe it could deepen our relationship." This statement is powerful for several reasons. First, it's direct and unambiguous. You're not beating around the bush or playing games. You're stating your intentions clearly. Second, it's respectful. You're not demanding intimacy or making her feel pressured. You're inviting her to consider it. Third, it's grounded in your belief that intimacy will enhance the relationship, not just fulfill your desires. But why is this balance of vulnerability and strength so effective? It works because it taps into a deep psychological need. We all have the need for connection. When you show vulnerability, you signal that you're open to forming a deeper connection. When the psychological trick, balancing vulnerability with strength. You pair that vulnerability with strength. You demonstrate that you're not seeking connection out of desperation or neediness, but from a place of confidence and self-assurance. This dynamic is incredibly attractive because it creates a sense of safety and trust. Women are more likely to respond positively to intimacy when they feel secure in the relationship, knowing that the man they are with is both emotionally available and emotionally stable. 2. The Stoic art of patience, letting her set the pace. One of the most powerful aspects of Stoicism is patience in today's fast-paced world. Patience is a rare virtue, but it's incredibly attractive when requesting intimacy. It's crucial to let the woman set the pace. This doesn't mean you become passive. Rather, you remain engaged, present, and responsive to her cues. Patience in Stoicism is not about waiting idly. It's about being actively patient, engaging in the process, observing and understanding the situation, without forcing it. When it comes to intimacy, patience means recognizing that everyone has their own timeline and comfort level, and that rushing the process can create unnecessary tension and anxiety. After expressing your desire for intimacy, the next step is to give her space to process and respond. The silence that may follow might feel uncomfortable, but it's essential. This silence is where the magic happens. It's a space where she can reflect on her feelings, her desires, and her comfort level. It's in this silence that she can make a decision that feels right for her without feeling pressured or rushed during this moment. Maintain eye contact, stay relaxed, and keep your body language open. Your posture should convey that you're confident and patient, that you're not in a rush to move things forward, but are open to whatever pace feels right for her. This approach not only shows respect, but also creates a safe environment for her to express her feelings. This kind of patience is incredibly powerful because it signals to her that you're not just interested in physical intimacy, but in building a connection that's based on mutual respect and understanding. It shows that you value her feelings and boundaries, and that you're willing to wait for the right time rather than forcing something before she's ready. Moreover, patience is a sign of emotional maturity. The art of patience. Letting her set the pace demonstrates that you're in control of your desires rather than letting them control you. This level of emotional maturity is rare and attractive, as it shows that you're not only capable of handling intimacy, but also the emotional complexities that come with it. 3. The subtle art of suggestion, planting the seed. Here's where the real psychological trick comes into play. Instead of directly asking for intimacy, consider planting a suggestion that encourages her to think about it on her own terms. This technique taps into the power of suggestion, a subtle but effective psychological tool. The power of suggestion is well documented in psychology. It works because it allows the person receiving the suggestion to internalize the idea and make it their own. When you plant a suggestion, you're not imposing your desires on her. You're inviting her to explore the idea in her own mind at her own pace. You might say something like, "I think being closer to you would feel really natural for us, don't you?" This statement isn't a direct request, but rather a gentle nudge, allowing her to envision the intimacy you're referring to. It's less about convincing and more about inviting her to explore the idea on her own. This approach works because it respects her autonomy and subtly encourages her to see intimacy as a mutual organic progression, rather than something that's being imposed on her. By planting the seed of intimacy in her mind, you allow her to take ownership of the idea, making her more likely to embrace it. But the art of suggestion doesn't stop at planting the seed. It's also about how you nurture it after making the suggestion. Continue to build emotional and physical close in subtle ways. For example, you might increase the amount of affectionate touch, like holding her hand or giving her a hug. These small gestures can help create a sense of closeness and comfort, making the idea of intimacy feel more natural and desirable. At the same time, be mindful of her responses. If she seems receptive, continue to build on that momentum. If she seems hesitant, give her more time and space. The key is to the subtle art of suggestion. Planting the seed, remain patient and observant, allowing the idea of intimacy to grow organically rather than forcing it. Building anticipation. The power of delayed gratification. Another key aspect of Stoicism is the concept of delayed gratification. This is about understanding the value of waiting and the power that comes with it when it comes to intimacy. Rushing the process can often diminish its value and impact. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist the temptation for an immediate reward and wait for a more substantial or meaningful one later. This concept is central to Stoic philosophy and is incredibly relevant in the context of intimacy. Instead of pushing for immediate gratification, consider building anticipation. This doesn't mean playing hard to get or manipulate the situation. It's about deepening the emotional connection so that when intimacy does happen, it's more meaningful and fulfilling for both of you. To build anticipation, focus on creating memorable experiences together that deepen your emotional bond. Engage in activities that bring you closer, whether it's having deep conversations, sharing personal stories, or spending time doing something you both enjoy. These shared experiences create a sense of connection that goes beyond the physical, making the eventual intimacy more powerful and meaningful. Another way to build anticipation is through subtle physical cues. For example, you might increase the amount of physical touch, such as holding hands, giving gentle hugs, or sitting closer together. These small gestures can create a sense of closeness and intimacy without rushing into a full physical relationship. The key to delayed gratification is understanding that the journey is just as important as the destination. By taking the time to build a strong emotional foundation, you create a more fulfilling and meaningful connection. This approach not only enhances the intimacy when it does happen, but also strengthens the overall relationship. Moreover, delayed gratification is a sign of self-control and emotional maturity. It shows that you're not driven by immediate desires, but are capable of waiting for something more meaningful. This level of self-control is incredibly attractive as it demonstrates that you're not just interested in physical pleasure, but in building a lasting and meaningful connection. 5. Emotional intelligence, reading her cues and responding thoughtfully. Emotional intelligence is building anticipation, the power of delayed gratification, crucial in any relationship. But it's especially important when navigating intimacy. Stoicism teaches us to be mindful of our own emotions, but it also encourages us to be aware of others' feelings and reactions. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. It's about being attuned to the subtle cues that others give off. Whether through their body language, tone of voice, or facial expressions during your interactions, pay close attention to her body language, tone of voice, and the subtle cues she gives off. For example, if she seems hesitant or uncomfortable, acknowledge it and give her the space to express her feelings. You might say, "I notice you're a bit quiet. How are you feeling about what we're discussing?" This shows that you're not only focused on your desires but are also attuned to her emotional state. Women appreciate a man who is perceptive and caring, someone who prioritizes their comfort and well-being. This level of emotional intelligence is rare and highly attractive, but emotional intelligence goes beyond just recognizing her cues. It's also about how you respond to them. If she expresses hesitancy, don't push or try to convince her. Instead, validate her feelings and let her know that you respect her boundaries. You might say, "I understand if you're not ready and I want you to feel comfortable. Let's take things at a pace that feels right for you." This kind of response shows that you're not just interested in your own desires but are also considerate of her feelings and comfort level. It demonstrates that you're willing to put her needs above your own, which is a key aspect of Stoic philosophy. Emotional intelligence also involves being aware of your own emotions and how they affect your interactions. For example, if you're feeling anxious or impatient, take a moment to pause and reflect before responding. This self-awareness allows you to approach the situation with a calm and composed mindset, rather than letting your emotions dictate your actions. 6. The role of self-control, being in command of your desires. Self-control is a cornerstone of Stoicism, and it's vital when discussing intimacy. Being in control of your desires doesn't mean suppressing them. It means not allowing them to dominate your actions or cloud your judgment. When you approach a woman about intimacy, it's essential to come from a place of self-control. This means you're not driven by lust or desperation, but by a genuine desire for a deeper connection. Emotional intelligence, reading her cues, and responding thoughtfully. Women can sense when a man is in control of himself, and it's a quality that inspires respect and trust. Self-control, in the context of intimacy, means being able to manage your desires in a way that respects both your needs and the needs of the woman you're with. It's about finding a balance between expressing your desires and being mindful of her comfort level. For example, if you find yourself feeling impatient or frustrated because the relationship isn't progressing as quickly as you'd like, take a step back and remind yourself of the bigger picture. Intimacy is not just about physical closeness, it's about emotional connection, trust, and mutual respect. By exercising self-control, you show that you're not just interested in immediate gratification but in building a meaningful and lasting relationship. Self-control also involves being able to handle rejection or a slower pace with grace and dignity. If the conversation doesn't go as planned or if she's not ready for intimacy, your ability to remain composed and understanding will set you apart. This is where Stoic philosophy shines. You are not attached to the outcome, and your peace of mind isn't dependent on her response. By embracing self-control, you reinforce yourself with worth and demonstrate that you're capable of handling the emotional complexities that come with intimacy. This level of maturity is not only attractive but also essential for building a healthy and fulfilling relationship. 7. Communicating value, the importance of mutual respect and growth. When requesting intimacy, it's important to communicate that you see it as a mutual experience that can enhance both of your lives. This isn't about what you can get from her, but about what you can share together. Expressing how you believe that deepening your connection can contribute to both of your personal growth is key. For instance, you could say, "I think becoming closer could bring us even more happiness and understanding. I see it as a way for us to grow together, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well." This shifts the focus from physical pleasure to mutual. The role of self-control. Being in command of your desires. Respect and growth. It shows that you value her as a person, and that intimacy is part of a larger picture, a shared journey towards greater fulfillment and happiness. Communicating value in this way demonstrates that you're not just interested in fulfilling your own desires, but in contributing to her well-being and growth. As well, it shows that you see the relationship as a partnership where both of you can learn, grow, and support each other. This approach also aligns with the Stoic principle of seeing the bigger picture. In Stoicism, relationships are not just about personal gain, but about contributing to the greater good by approaching intimacy as a shared experience that can enhance both of your lives. You demonstrate a level of maturity and depth that is rare and highly attractive. 8. The Stoic perspective on rejection. Embracing the outcome with grace. Finally, let's address the possibility of rejection, which is always a risk. When discussing intimacy from a Stoic perspective, rejection is simply an event. It doesn't define your worth or the quality of your relationship. If she isn't ready or doesn't feel the same way, accept her response with grace and understanding. You might say, "I respect your feelings and appreciate your honesty. I'm glad we can talk openly." Conclusion. Becoming a Stoic in love and intimacy. About this response demonstrates maturity and emotional resilience, both of which are attractive qualities. Remember, Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control others' reactions, we can control our response by embracing rejection with dignity. You reinforce your self-worth and leave the door open for future possibilities. Rejection is not the end. It's simply a part of the journey. By accepting it with grace, you show that you're not attached to the outcome and that you're confident in your own worth. This level of emotional resilience is rare and highly attractive, as it shows that you're capable of handling the complexities of a relationship with maturity and understanding. 9. Conclusion. Becoming a Stoic in love and intimacy. To wrap up, let's summarize the key points. Requesting intimacy from a woman through the lens of Stoicism involves a combination of self-awareness, patience, and respect for both her feelings and your own. By approaching the conversation with vulnerability balanced by strength, using subtle psychological techniques and embodying Stoic principles, you can navigate this delicate subject with confidence and grace. Remember, true nomism in love isn't about suppressing your desires or emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about approaching intimacy as a shared journey where both partners feel valued, respected, and understood. As you apply these principles, you'll find that not only does your approach to intimacy improve, but so does your overall emotional resilience and connection with others. This is the power of Stoicism, a philosophy that, when applied to relationships, can lead to deeper, more meaningful connections. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoic intimacy. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that dives deep into the psychological and philosophical aspects of relationships. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic, and continue to strive for the best version of yourself.